Welcome, passionate souls and seekers of whispers that refuse to stay quiet. Welcome to the theater where feelings take the stage and the script writes itself in real time. Welcome to Turkish series stars. Love doesn't always knock politely, sometimes it kicks the door off its hinges and rushes in like a storm, scattering vows, plans, and carefully built images. Tonight, we bring you a tale that feels less like idle talk and more like an emotional quake, one that rattles dressing rooms and green rooms from set to set. At the center are the magnetic Sinem Ünsal and the charismatic Ozan Akbaba, a man spoken for, a ring marking a promise others thought unbreakable. But love doesn't file paperwork or ask permission. It moves. And when it does, careers and headlines start to tremble. Before we dive into this tangle of passion and impossible choices, make a bold move of your own. Tap like if you think hearts don't read rulebooks, subscribe to Turkish series stars to follow each twist, and if you want to help us keep this story raw and unfiltered, hit the join button. Because what follows defies easy answers. The hum that's been gathering across the industry isn't just rumor, it's thunder rolling in. Sinem Ünsal, poised, luminous, and braver than she lets on, has, according to those closest to her, said something that left even her confidants blinking. The claim? She met Ozan Akbaba's gaze, a man said to be engaged, the weight of that ring like a sentence, and with startling clarity, placed her heart on the table. The message that friends repeat in a hush, part awe and part alarm, break the engagement and start a life with me. This wasn't a throwaway line in a crowded room. It wasn't a playful nudge between colleagues. It was a vow, steady and deliberate, a promise shaped like a future. Those who know both swear it didn't burst out of nowhere. Sinem and Ozan have drifted through each other's orbits for years, at readings and festivals, round-table chats and quiet rap parties where phones live face down and laughter grows soft after midnight. They were the pair lingering in corners, sinking into the same couches, sharing goodbyes that felt reluctant. Crew hands recognized it first. Takes stretched into talks, eye contact turned into choices, and their laughter began to feel like code. Let's stop and breathe. If you were in Sinem's shoes, would you risk everything on one confession to a man promised to another? And if you were Ozan, steady, admired, famously private, how would you carry the weight of choosing between loyalty and a feeling that refuses to be ignored? Tell us in the comments. The debate is yours. Those who share this account insist it didn't sound like a plea muffled by doubt. It sounded like the kind of dare a person throws at fate when time feels precious and pretending feels like an insult. Walk away from what you pledged to someone else, she is said to have told him, and step into a truth we can call ours. For Ozan, a man who has cultivated a controlled calm beyond the camera, projecting the certainty of someone already settled, this becomes a storm no press statement can sweep aside. Behind closed doors, what's really happening? The whispers say Ozan is stunned. Stunned by the force of those words, by the depth of a feeling he didn't plan to confront. He has reportedly told a few trusted friends that he feels the pressure bearing down like a sudden burden. One confidant swears he used the phrase, "a stretch I didn't see coming," while another says he's simply trying to catch his breath without the world making the choice for him. Ask around, and you'll hear two versions. Ozan is either sinking into a flood of clashing emotions or simply building a barrier between his private life and the floodlights trained on it. He has grown careful. More deliberate with answers, wary of where he steps. Fans, with their uncanny instincts, sense the tension tightening around him like a belt drawn one notch too far. If your pulse rises with this tug-of-war, if this isn't gossip but a human drama to you, hit that like now. And remember, to keep Turkish series stars digging where others dare not, subscribe and support the search for truth. Sinem's side? Her silence roars. No denial on her page, no teasing story to brush it all off, no breezy late-night interview to turn turmoil into cute banter. But the internet has a long memory. Old clips resurface, Sinem saying she refuses to swallow the truth when love calls her name, that she won't trade honesty for a polished image. Those fragments are now stitched into a new narrative. For some, this is the bravest scene she's ever played, for others, it's reckless and cruel. Either way, her gaze, clear and steady, has become an emblem of this moment. No PR-crafted statement. No notes app confessional. And so, every eye swivels to Ozan, waiting for that next step that could steady or shatter the ground beneath all three of them. Will this topple an engagement or fade into smoke that leaves the ring untouched? Even those who claim to know say they're watching the horizon, waiting for which truth arrives first. If the corridors can be believed, this wasn't a single, breathless conversation at a doorstep. Their exchanges have intensified, late calls that stretch past midnight, messages that read like letters, pauses that linger too long before goodnight. They keep appearing at the same intimate gatherings, the ones with dim bulbs and careful guest lists, their closeness drawing attention even from old friends who once chalked it up to chemistry. Now the whispers take a sharper edge. Did a friendship surrender and drift into something else? Meanwhile, the fiance, her name carefully shielded, a silent casualty of this storm, has, it's said, grown restless. Who wouldn't? Those close to the couple say the stress has seeped into everyday rituals. Plans are quietly rewritten to avoid rooms where Sinem and Ozan might both arrive. It's a choreography of avoidance, a waltz no one wants to dance. Depending on who speaks, Ozan is split between the life he broadcast and a feeling that showed up without knocking, and refuses to leave. He is measuring decency against honesty, career against pulse, headlines against the quiet moments when the noise fades. And Sinem? Friends say she hasn't retreated an inch. If anything, she has named this her truth and stood with it. Life is brief, she tells those she trusts, a flicker of light, and happiness is something you move toward with courage, not something you abandon at the door of fear. Her supporters call that courage. Her critics call it demolition. Online, debates crackle without pause. Fans become investigators, combing clips where their laughter is a shade warmer, where one comment mirrors another like a reflection. Old interviews are recaptioned with fresh meanings. Comments read like ciphers. A simple like on a photo turns into a sleepless night of speculation. Screenshots circulate of harmless exchanges, light on the surface, heavy in the eyes of those who see more. Whether truth or a tapestry woven by hope, the fuel keeps piling up. And still, at the center, both keep the quiet between them intact. As this grows, attention turns away from rumor mills to guest lists and stage doors. Will Sinem and Ozan risk the same frame, or choreograph a distance so careful it hurts to watch? For now, caution wins, staggered arrivals, separate exits, no photos that could swallow the work they're trying to promote. Strange, how distance can make a feeling seem nearer, like a whisper in the ear. Those close to Ozan say he hates this shift, the spotlight sliding away from his performances and onto the pulse beneath his collarbone. He's been drawing lines, warding off the gossip that wants to swallow his projects whole. Word is, he's planning time away from events and cameras, a breather to calm the roar. But where does that leave the relationship at the heart of it all? Some swear the engagement is straining to the breaking point, others insist it will survive, though with hairline cracks no one can unsee. Sinem, for her part, holds herself with a calm that feels carved from stone. To those behind closed doors, she says the public isn't owed an explanation she never agreed to give. On her feeds, everything is spare and intentional, sunlight on a curtain, coffee cooling on a sill, a lyric tucked under a portrait. Her elegance hasn't slipped, if anything, the quiet reads as resolve. And thus, every post becomes a message, every image a code waiting to be cracked. So, friends of Turkish series stars, where do you stand in this tug-of-war? Is Sinem a romantic hero writing her truth in capital letters, or a wrecking ball hurtling toward vows someone else believed sacred? Should Ozan choose the duty he announced to the world, or the heartbeat that arrived out of schedule? The comments are yours. Don't forget to subscribe, tap the bell, and share this video with those who crave a story that refuses to sit still. The next chapter could rewrite everything. Still, don't mistake silence for absence. Insiders say the two exchange glances across crowded rooms that feel like paragraphs. A laugh shared from opposite corners. A tiny nod that only two people notice. This is the language that blossoms when words become too expensive. And it leaves everyone else chewing on uncertainty. There are rumors of a conversation looming, one that could either shutter this door or swing it wide. An end-of-night meeting. A call that lasts until the birds speak. The kind of moment you remember even when you've tried hard to forget. In the meantime, the ring remains a symbol under siege. The fiance, still unnamed and undeserving of public dissection, is said to be weighing her own choices. She's reportedly set boundaries, moved dates, asked for time. Some claim she has confronted the silence, asking what most of us would: how long can a promise bear the strain of a shadow that keeps returning? There is no easy answer to that. Not in life. Not in love. Industry veterans remind us that this business runs on illusion, and yet, the most powerful scenes often happen off camera. Perhaps that is why this story hits so hard. You can stage a kiss, rehearse a goodbye, but the trembling in someone's hands when they face a real decision? No director can yell cut on that. The city, with all its bright sets and polished press junkets, becomes very small when two people find themselves in the same unspoken sentence. If you've followed their careers, this collision almost makes sense. Sinem has always worked like a blade, precise, fearless, cutting through the noise. Ozan, a quiet storm, grounded, measured, looking at each role like a promise. Somewhere along the way, admiration might have grown teeth. Respect could have called itself by another name. And once a thought like that plants itself, it's hard to unthink it. That's the trouble and the wonder of it. So we wait. We watch the doorways and the captions, the pauses in interviews, the space between two chairs at a panel. Will he talk? Will she take one more step forward, or hold the line she's already drawn? Will the engagement bend or break? For now, all we have is a silence that refuses to end and a heartbeat that refuses to slow. Keep your eyes here, because the moment truth chooses a voice, it will echo everywhere. Until then, this is Turkish series Stars, where we don't turn away when a story asks to be told.